Good morning, everyone. For my social justice issue, I would like to talk about the American education system's disservice to people with special needs, specifically individuals with autism, and how we can take steps to make education more fair and meaningful to those with special needs. About 90% of adults with autism spectrum disorders, including the ones who have high functioning autism, are unemployed as adults. Why? Because they're unemployable. The American education system has failed to prepare them for jobs where they can succeed. Much of special education for individuals on the autism spectrum in middle and high school is ineffectual. It doesn't matter to these teachers where they believe their pupils will be able to go, yet they claim to know what is best and what it takes to teach each child how to survive in the real world. Educational administrators prevaricate to parents and set unachievable benchmarks with unrealistic goals. And the goals that they do meet have been oversimplified and bolstered to where it doesn't actually test their ability, just their response. Doctors very often equivocate and sidestep questions about prognosis, even when parents directly ask about their child's future capabilities. There are many children with autism who are painstakingly taught academic subjects for years and years by some of the best educators and therapists, though it is plain to see that such a child will never get to the point where he or she can take a place in society that requires real reading comprehension, writing composition, or the math needed to manage income or a household. Imagine being a child, then a teen, then a young adult, drilled incessantly in things you can't fully understand or remember, rather than being allowed to develop relative strengths and talents as a way of finding your niche. Outside America, where academic education isn't seen as a birthright or a prerequisite for a good life, individuals with autism and other disabilities actually have more opportunity to take part in meaningful societal activity, whether it be work on a farm or in a factory or at community-based centers of care for the young, disabled, and elderly. In many places outside America, regardless of how many resources they have, raising a child with a disability is not all about getting the child academically trained. Such children are usually trained to care for themselves first, then to participate in family and community life, and then to participate vocationally as they can, if they can. This just seems more realistic. Take Brazil, for example. There is a range of services for individuals with disabilities, from nursery-level programs to higher education, which are all mandated by the Ministry of Education. What was once an exclusive special educational model, Brazil has shifted into one of inclusion. Schools may not recognize disabilities and learning difficulties and make accommodations or arrangements for special classes. They may also provide referrals to other schools with better accommodations to meet the needs of individual children. In Brazil, it is a constitutional right for children with special educational needs to be integrated into the mainstream classroom. The word education isn't even written in the American Constitution. With the shift towards inclusion, there has been increased access to regular public education for individuals with special needs. The curriculum is modified to accommodate those individuals and is expanded to reflect local possibilities. At the age of 14, educational programs shift depending on educational achievements or an individual's potential. They may even be enrolled in workshops or pre-vocational training. To contrast this, let's see what Jake Olson, a blind student at USC, has to say about his experience in an American public schools special needs program.
If you're a special needs student, you don't have any choices. If you cannot afford a private school, you are stuck in going to the public school that the government chooses for you. I tried that at first, but right off the bat, there were problems. All the special needs students in my district were grouped into one class. Academic ability didn't matter, interest didn't matter. It only mattered that you had a disability. Even if I were to outperform other students, say in honors chemistry, I couldn't take the class with them because I was blind.
As you can see, Jake faced some obvious difficulties, which begs the question, what can we do for special needs students that can't afford private school? Simple. We push for school choice. Jake and I both agree that school choice is the right choice. With school choice, every child receives funding that their parents can direct to the school that best fits their needs, public, private, charter, even homeschool. This program is already starting to take flight. In 2009, 20,000 special needs students enrolled. In 2015, that number had grown to 31,000. Hopefully, we can push for a similar program here in California. It just makes sense.